Hey there, entrepreneur. I see you. I know you want to start your own business here in the Netherlands. Maybe this is something you've been thinking about already for a couple of months, if not for several years. And don't worry, I got you covered, because in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you top 3 things that you must absolutely keep in the back of your head if this is going to be you in 2021, a boss, a business owner. Make sure to stick around until the end of this video, because I'm going to share with you a bonus tip that you really need to watch out for. First up, make sure you're able to register your business at your current address. And this goes out whether you're renting from a landlord or you've made a purchase for your very own home. Now, in the latter case, most of the time, you're able to go to the Chamber of Commerce and register your business, unless in that plot of land where your house is, it is strictly written that you're not able to carry out any commercial activities. So this is very much worth checking before you even purchase a property. But in the first case, if you're a renter, things get a little bit more tricky. In most of the cases in your rental contract, it's going to state that you're not able to register any kind of business activity in that given address. Now, there are a few ways to go around this. Maybe if your landlord is a reasonable person, you're able to negotiate with them in the form of paying them a little bit more, so you're able to register your business there, and then that extra payment at the end of the year becomes part of your business expenses and becomes tax deductible. But if that's not the case, there are a couple of places here in Rotterdam alone where you can actually buy a ghost PO box that becomes your business address, for which you have to pay a little bit every month. But then again, that becomes part of your business expenses. So in Rotterdam, as well as in Amsterdam, or in any city in the Netherlands, you're able to find these places. I will be listing some of my favorites that happen to be based in Rotterdam down in the description. So it's definitely worth checking out places like CIC Rotterdam, Tribes, Spaces, as well as 42 Workspace, to see what are the possibilities and the fees of getting such an associated PO box to register your business. Don't forget to hit the like button so far if you learned something new, and let's move on to point number 2. Study the pros as well as the cons of all legal business forms that are available to you. Now, you might be a freelancer running your business, therefore it makes sense to register yourself as a single person business, or in Dutch known as eenmanszaak. However, this might not always be the fitted case depending on what kind of business you're running and what kind of liability you want to have, as well as your future projections for growth. For example, if you're a copywriter or a social media manager and you're working with several clients at once and you're not really carrying out activities that are considered high risk, in that case, it makes sense so much to register yourself as a single person business to get all of these associated tax benefits that I talked about in this video that's popping up on your screen right now. So make sure to check that out if you want to register yourself as a single man business. On the flip side of the coin, you can be a single person, but maybe you're going to be running this successful startup that's going to scale very fast. And maybe you're carrying out activities that are quite risky, like construction, trade, anything of that nature, maybe handling data even. In that case, maybe you do not want to be personally liable for the business that you're running. In that case, it's definitely worth checking out BV, in other words, private limited company. So now you might be wondering, okay, what does it take to start a private limited company, or otherwise known as a BV, here in the Netherlands? First up, you need 1 cent in your bank account, but on top of that, there's going to be some legal fees that you pay to the notary to help you get incorporated. So you're looking at spending anywhere up to 5,000 euros, depending on who you're working with, to really get everything set up for you. In terms of the governance, you're going to need an executive board that helps make some of the key and crucial decisions that move the company forward. And usually you also have a board of directors that also happen to be shareholders in this BV company. So for example, in a previous job I worked, it was a BV company about architecture, and it had 5 shareholders, in other words, 5 different directors or partners that were responsible to make sure that the company is functioning properly. And with that, if you're a shareholder of a BV, you're going to have some additional social security benefits, and in some cases you don't pay taxes as high as you would if you were an employee or if you were running your own eenmanszaak. So it's definitely worth checking out the full details of that in the Chamber of Commerce. I'm linking their website down in the description as well. The last thing that I want to mention before moving on to the bonus is that you should write your business plan. And with that said, when you go to the Chamber of Commerce and you say, I want to register my business, they're not going to ask you for a business plan in most cases. However, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't have one. Now, I made this mistake when I registered my business earlier this year in January. I was so keen to get started. I already had some clients lined up. I just wanted to register, get things out of the way, and jump straight into the execution in my business. When April time came around and we were in this global situation that we're in, I kind of thought to myself, you know what? It would have been so much more easier for me now to pivot my business had I previously had a business plan and that I knew exactly what my mission, vision was, and my services that I was providing, and some of the things that I really want to achieve in my business, not just this year, but in the next 5 to 10 years. I know the idea of having a business plan can be like, oh, no, now I have to write this business plan. Oh my God, it's exhausting. Well, it doesn't have to be this long, cumbersome document that you have to sit down and spend ages on. I highly recommend, though, having an idea of what kind of a business plan you want to have. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can be very, very simple. I have the link to a business plan canvas down in the description for any of you who are serious about actually getting started. It's a one-page document that touches upon different elements within your business, and it just helps you have a very, very clear overview of how you're actually going to run your business, what are your sources of revenue, what are your key partners going to be like, and what kind of activities you're going to carry out in your business. So make sure to download that and get started today having a very, very coherent business plan for yourself. If you've stuck until this point in this episode, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you doing that. It really helps me out a lot. And I have a bonus tip for you. Get a bookkeeper for your business as soon as possible. Essentially, a bookkeeper tracks all of your income as well as all of your expenses and makes sure that you're not paying more than you have to when the tax season comes around. And let's face it, as business owners, none of us really want to pay a lot of tax. So having a bookkeeper is just going to ensure that you're paying just the right amount of tax for your business, and they're also going to advise you on some ways that you can actually apply for tax deductions. In my case, I only have 5 key moments where I meet with my bookkeeper, and that is when I do my quarterly value-added tax returns. So that's 4 times a year, and 1 time a year where I do the full yearly income return. The way I structure this is keeping all of my ins and outs in a simple Google Doc Excel sheet where I make sure I write down how much tax I've paid and how much tax I've gotten paid within my services. And I also make sure to have a folder where I keep all of my invoices. And when it comes to actually meeting my bookkeeper, I send both of these folders over to them, and they go through to make sure I haven't made any math mistakes, and they tell me exactly what's the amount of tax I need to pay. In some cases, what's the amount of tax that I need to ask back from the government. I hope these tips were useful. As usual, if you like this video and if you learned something new, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel where I make content about how to start your business as well as how to find a job that you love, occasionally sprinkling some lifestyle videos about my personal experiences. With that said, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, and until then, as usual, don't forget to stay awesome.